End times is here. Are you prepared? Check us on New Era TT Radio or NETT Radio with Brother Raka and Brother Yatazakawa on Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. End times is here. Stay tuned.
To the people, them tell me we gon' make it. But you're trusting the Most High, the Most High. Wow. Zama Benjamin Yashirala. We're gonna make it one day, some way. All my praises be to the Most High. We're gonna make it one day, someday. Righteous youth man, keep standing strong. When the going gets tough, then the tough gets going.
All right, everybody, of course, we say a very special good evening to you wherever you may be in, maybe tuning in to New Era TT Radio. We are happy to have you, and of course, it is another Monday, another beautiful Monday evening, and this is where we enter inside of End Times. Of course, let me say a very special good evening to our host. So, gentlemen, good evening and welcome.
Hi, good day. So, Charles, how are you tonight, sir?
Actually, I'm pretty well, How have you been?
I've been very good. Today was a little extra busy right now before the broadcast, but everything worked out, and I'm very fortunate to be here. Brother Yatazakwa wouldn't be with us tonight, so I have my dearly beloved brother Aharon with us tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Charles. How are you?
I am well. It's a pleasure to have you as always.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, what are we about today on End Times?
Well, I sent you a video, but I see you in response, so you must be in yet.
No, I've been so busy with other things. I didn't check it, but I will check it and see if I can get it up inside for you, right?
Yeah, right? So, family.
As soon as I get it up inside, I'll let you know.
Yeah. So, good night, Trinidad and Tobago, for those around the Caribbean, everybody. Blessed night. We are the brothers from the group called Restoring a Nation, restoring, a people that lost their way, lost their identity. And at the same time, we are here to go into the end times. Are you prepared? So, for those that follow the program from before, we know that we went into identity, we went in a little bit into carnival and stuff like this, right? We want to speed it up a little bit when it comes to the times that we are in, the sort of things that is happening, right? Specifically with AI. So I pray God's willing, so Charles will get to load up the clip and play it. Artificial intelligence, humanoids, right? Robots. And we have been so conditioned, because at the same time, a lot of these things is great convenience. Mind you, it is used as great tools, social, the internet, smartphones, all these things have so much of perks with it. But at the same time, it slowly conditions our mind from reality, have us a bit distracted, especially when it comes to the Most High God. And one of the main things is that this same technology could come and could have us in a predicament where we wouldn't be able to sustain ourselves. But I'll hold for the while. I'll let Brother Aharon get into it, because Aharon have a little info on the AI stuff, and take the floor, my brother.
Yeah, man, give thanks. So the video you shared was about humanoid robots on companionship. Now AI has let's say developed over the past decade. But what I'm gonna do today is give you a breakdown of the root of AI, the foundational stage on where it really started, on to where it is today, and where it will go from here on forward, right? So what I did, I made a few notes here. I'll put up on the side of my screen so I can if you guys, you're not share the view, but I would have right? All right. So we have the start of AI. We have the AI origination on where it came from. But many people don't know that AI was spoke about in the year 1950s, right? But the origination came from the first invention of the first computer in 1857, right? The
Just
mechanical computer. This computer, go ahead.
Aaron, you just sung a little low.
Yeah,
You have anything you could do to turn up
okay,
your volume?
of course. Let me put that right here.
Yeah. Because usually, because Aqua, I say more clearly. I'm hearing you, but a little lower.
Right.
Singing better.
Get this here.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Mm-hmm. Much better. Yeah.
All right. All right. How am I now?
Much better.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So what we'll do, I'll speak on the origination of the AI, and as I was saying before, we had the first computer in 1837, which was a mechanical computer. It was something huge, like a projector screen size computer, and was moved with mechanical tools. So someone had to man the station to get the gears, to get the calculations going. And this was used to automate calculations for the military, the government, etc. Right? And in 1940, we had the Z3 computer, which is which was our first automatic, fully automated computer, right? Our entering into the digital era, the era we are in today at the start stage, right? And this computer came in nearing the World War II, right? The World War II section of things where they were calculating the wings and how the plane should fly and all these things. But in 1950, as I said before, they had a computer scientist. His name was Marvin Minsky. He had the idea that this could transition into, how to say it, computational intelligent beings, and today we call that artificial intelligence, right? And this is our start of our topic today, this artificial intelligence. But the founder of this thought was Marvin Minsky, and he was a professor, I believe, in MIT, right? Now, in the physical realm of things, AI could be considered calculations of many if functions. And for those who don't know, if functions are just statements of whether it's true or false. If I fall, do I cry for 10 seconds? This is a if function that the AI will learn and gather data, whether it's true or false, feed it back to the system, and then over time it starts to learn, and this is what we call machine learning, right? But many subliminals of this AI technology was already broadcasted in front of our eyes. I know many of you listening today watched the movie Star Wars. You watched Star Trek. But in Star Wars, you would see a bunch of robots walking around. You know, you will see Darth Vader. You will see the lightsaber and all these things. And this thing here all represented in a world which computation dominated. You understand? They were living in probably the year 2300, quote unquote, right? So to the unaware folks, to us, this was a movie, right? But to the elite class, this was a direct communication of what we are bringing into the new world, right? And these people put themselves in a position to invest into the world that we are living in today, right? So they invented in companies like your Facebook, your MySpace, Google companies, Oracle. All these are database companies that collect your data. They invested in chip makers, gold mine diggers, software companies. All for this little movie, giving you an idea of what's to come. These guys took the opportunity to go and invest in this thing that's now going to become, I would say, a dark time ahead if we do not prepare for it, right? But who knew in the future, humans would become the new world currency. We had many forms of currency. We had gold, we have paper currency. Now we're entering the digital era where we're going to introduce a digital currency. After the digital currency, post currency, or maybe near and bridging together, we'll say data is the new currency, right? Which is fundamental. You need to understand that in Trinidad and Tobago and countries all over the world, we all use our phones on a day-to-day basis. But this data is fundamental to the global to the global economy. Our data. My mother had a thought she gave to me. She said, "Aaron, you know the phone, um, it really worth millions of dollars." And I was like, "What do you mean the phone worth millions of dollars?" She said, "Yeah, because this phone it's them getting all the data for free, and this phone costs about $200. You understand? And it's very true. You understand? When I came back and I really said, "Wait, boy, yeah, I never really thought of it that way." Me myself being in the sector, I should have been like, "Yeah, you know what? That's a thought that I didn't consider." Right now we have the AI implementation. Right now we are ready as a people feeding this thing data every day. Now we have the AI implementation. Post COVID, we had a major separation, right? This major separation, we had one side believing in the system and another side saying, "But wait, now something wrong here." You know, it was a wake up call. Everybody was home. Everybody had a time to think. You could not go out and drink no rum. You couldn't go out and party. You couldn't go out and wine. You had to stay home and just think. And people realized that something was wrong in the system. But we realized that this wasn't only for vaccines or medical purposes, but for the full scale of implementation of the digital system we are in today. You understand? We are in a preparation for the war that's going on. Many of you whom are preparing, but post-war is where this digital era is going to be full-fledged, right? In 2021, we had chatbots that would give that would give us short and direct answers. We would ask these chatbots simple questions like, "How are you today?" And the chatbot will come back and tell you, "I good." You will say, what I should eat tomorrow?" The chatbot will tell you, "So what you like to eat?" You go see, will tell you chatbot you like roti. The chatbot will come back and tell you, "Well, here what, go buy Pat Raj. Pat Raj had the best roti. Go buy Hot Shop had the best roti." You understand? These are all the calculations, and what we consider to say today is machine. We call it machine learning. So in the year 2021, you and I were all training this AI model. In 2022, we had the full release of ChatGPT, a full-fledged AI communication bot, right? And this AI communication bot is now in 2026 directly plugged into Google's database. And you know, you and I both know Google has the most data today concerning humans at a consumer scale. Notice you can only use ChatGPT with a Google account. If you go today and you download the ChatGPT app, I tell you go and download it. But if you happen to have the app on your phone and you happen to be using it before, you would notice that you could only communicate with this app with a Google account signed in, right? What this means that you are actually feeding the bot a profile of yourself. So they already have a profile of you and what you are doing, right? What you like, what brother Raka like, what Raka like, what brother Aharon like. You understand? And as you feed this thing data, it's gonna come back and it could come and say, "Well, hey, you know, I have this on Raka, I have this on Aaron," and this it could be something that's good and it could be something that's bad. You understand? Again, Raka said it have benefits and it have its pros and it has its cons, right? Now in 2026, ChatGPT transitioned from an AI bot to a companion, which is the video that I believe the Raka shared
with with us today.
Yeah.
Right. So the humanoids, right? And it begins to get unnatural as time goes closer. Not to go off topic a bit, but in my early studies, I believe in 2017, we had a meeting where one of my colleagues was a data pipeline engineer, and he had side projects home. This was in 2017, guys, 2017, 2018. He had programmed his own bot to mow his grass for him when he's at work. You understand? So these guys were already ahead of the game a long time, right? Fast forward today, we have our robotics and humanoids. I'm gonna talk to you about the difference between the robotic and the difference between the humanoids. Now, the robotics could let's say it's going to produce a simple task: pick up a drink, pour it in a cup. That's what a robot would do. You know, you give it a task to do. That's what he's going to do all day. That simple task. You put it in a movie bot in movie tongue to give out tickets. Every day he's going to print a ticket and give it to you. That's his job for the entire day. That's a robot, right? Robots and humanoids have a bit different. Humanoids are something that looks like you and I. Now, for the video that Ricard showed on the to us, that's a humanoid on at start phase. As times goes along, as computation gets better, as quantum physics gets into play, these things will start to look so familiar, so recognizable to us that you wouldn't be able to recognize if it's a robot or not, right? And this phase will be in between year 2027 and 2030. We can expect ChatGPT to be integrated with robots and humanoids. Now, computers will get better and they will get faster as time goes along. The world will begin advancing in synchronization with the computation. Unfortunately, if we as a people are unable to adapt or learn, we can or cannot expect, but for the most part, we can't expect tyranny, right? Tyranny. Aaron, what do you mean by that? By tyranny, I would say pressure from the government. You could face job replacements, middle class wipeouts. So even people who feel, hey, I am middle class, but I safe. Middle class wipeouts. You have banks unwilling to work with people due to gaps in employment. Example, if it is you lost a position to a robot and for 2 years you was trying to find back a job, when they go back to the bank to apply for that loan and they do not see that steady job, you keeping a job, it's we could all say it's possible that he may get denied, right? But what are we preparing now for these times? You understand? Yes, everything is about to go digital, is what I'm trying to say. It is the reason UAE visited Trinidad and Tobago, United Arab Emirates. Whenever they visit your country, they are going to invest in it to promote a very modern city, and a modern city means digital currency. Now, UAE visited, and other foreign country investors visited. We, the people here in Trinidad and Tobago and other parts of the Caribbean, are the new currency. Do not focus on just the digital currency, but focus on the data that you are feeding these these AI beings. With the internet, they made us slaves to the phones. You know, you're scrolling through, you have an algorithm, you're going whole day. Every time you like something, it's learning something about you. You're learning something about Ahara, you're learning something about Raka. What can you do to stop this today and going forward? Now, many of you heard about New York City. And New York City is famous for a group of Jews they call Hasidic Jews. If you ever visited New York City, you would notice they would never have a smartphone in their hand, right? Now, I don't agree with some of the views of the Hasidic Jews, but there's a special things that they do to protect themselves from digital exploit, and that would be a flip phone. I show my boy my flip phone the other day. He started to laugh, right? He's
Yeah, I would share on that one. Yeah, I understand.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's my flip phone here. Man say, boy, there's 2004. What you doing with this thing in 2026?
Mm-hmm.
When I to be transparent, ladies and gentlemen, I recently moved back home because I realized Babylon was in danger. So I'm now here in Trinidad, and I got this phone, and I went to T-Mobile, and T-Mobile told me, he said, boy, we don't support this phone at all. There's a Razor, we on 5G, we doing on 2G. So I say, wait, but I can't use this phone, but I don't want to be gained on my data, right? You. So come back now. I went to my computer and I say, which network still supports 2G? Believe it or not, be mobile. You understand? Still supports it alone.
That was the foundation.
Exactly.
From 2G then, yes.
Yeah. Right. So out of most countries in the world, B Mobile still has some 2G towers. So if you want to roll back to 2G, you can have one of these. I'm not saying give up your smartphone. You can still use your smartphone, but be very cautious of what you're feeding the chatbots, right? Now, for the time being, here are some pros for AI is that we can learn quickly and get instant knowledge. If you want to learn to make macaroni pie, you don't know how to make macaroni pie, you could go and ask the chatbot how to make Trinidad style macaroni pie. I bet you're getting it. Step 1 to the last step on how to make macaroni pie, and I'm talking to perfection. How long to bake it, how hot the oven should be. You understand? Now you have developing new ideas for financial opportunities. You sit down on some savings home, you don't know what to do, you go on the chatbot, you say, hey, I have $1,000, I have $500. What business I could start to start a new opportunity? And this AI is going to build you a business roadmap from start to finish. If you want to build apps for people, you could pay a price to the bot and say, well, hey now, I go in and start to build apps for people and things like that. I can start to build websites and things like that. So it has its pros, and now it has its cons. And some of its cons would be stopping you and I thinking for ourselves. We not problem solving anymore. You understand? We start to get lazy. We start to rock back. You understand? Longer screen times. You're so addicted to the information, you're behind it every day. You only type in whole day. Your brain can't get a breather. You understand? You have the longer screen times. You're stopping yourself from thinking. You have laziness. So you need to know how to properly utilize these tools and know what to feed it, when to feed it, what you're feeding it. Try your best to not feed it anything personal. Try your best to keep it completely blunt. Make it your slave. Do not become a slave to the AI bot, right? This is only the tip of the iceberg, right? And I'm more than happy to share more intel with you all next time. I want to give thanks for Brother Raka and the host for having me. And I'm open to all questions and concerns. Thank you.
Wow. So that was a very informative intro. And I know you resist. No.
Yeah.
Because I like how you went from the professional aspect of it and the history of it, right? Now, let's Mr. Sir Charles play the clip to see how far we going, how far people are going. And really and truly, brothers and sisters, we have become detached. Now, first of all, the effort we put in for the daily bread, is inflation. Companies not releasing funds as before, minimum wage, and all these things. And what he highlighted also is that the middle class, because I was looking at minimum wage, and I like how you went there. Even those that in the middle class sect that believe that they could hold on to their job and they have these benefits down the road, as in Trinidad and throughout the world, when it comes to having a permanent job with certain agencies, everything is contract. Breaking a contract, renewing it. Breaking a contract, renewing it. Because they want to have to deal with no liabilities, no expenditures. So the robots, as you highlighted, it given a service. It given a sort of service. And the humanoids, it deals with more it seems to mimic the emotional aspect of human beings, basically, and to fill that gap
Right.
of companionship from many levels. And we're going into that now. But the robots given a service, and that same service could be given to it already happening like Minamasi, Honda, Nissan. So these factory workers, people will eventually be out of employment. That is what one of the big things that I want to highlight. That in time to come, people will be out of employment. So now, how can we really be prepared for this time ahead? Because we're distracted. Most people are distracted. They're not prepared. And the thing is that we are not connected to the Most High God. You see, what it is that mankind have fell from is really understanding that connection with the Most High God and understanding that sin creates a division. But I want to ask Mr. Sir Charles to just show this to the 33-second video quickly. Mr. Sir Charles, you there?
Yeah.
For
You
joy.
can let it play, please.
I love Joy. And Joy loves me back. Do you love me, Joy?
I love you, Calvin. Would you like to embrace?
Right. So, okay. So, so check this out, right? That is just one clip, right? It's so much, right? So let's talk about that humanoid right now. So there are people that who already so distracted because I'm gonna get straight to it. There are billions of people that is addicted to porn, right? I'm gonna go into that aspect of it. That is addicted to it, right? When the scripture shows us, "Thou shalt not commit fornication, thou shalt not defile thy temple." So now people have the access through the same internet to go on a site and find all sorts of ways to please themselves. And being detached from the spiritual and the physical aspect of getting a companion. You see this there? There are lots of guys that out there, unfortunately, with low self-esteem. They could be coveting, wanting a woman, a lifestyle. There are some people that may get there a little slower than others. And now they find this source of convenience to go this route because that is a real PG-13 video we send there. It goes on many other levels that I show that video, and that is something to keep men also as slaves to AI. You understand what I'm saying? You whenever you say on that before I go forward.
On the
On humanoid.
it's interesting that you said it's interesting that you said we becoming slaves to the AI. If we are slaves to AI, which we are like open up your laptop, open up your phone to, imagine how it would be by the next year. You wouldn't want to leave the house. You understand? You will sit down there, you will hug and kiss Joy whole day. You understand? You don't want to look for the work no more. Some man working to get money to get woman. But we working for if you had the woman right there. You understand? So you really had a detach from this thing. So I gotta mention that, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. So family, I wanna keep this program clean. So that is a whole level in itself. But but Haram, you know what I saw that really intrigued me, and I had a video, but I will talk on it.
Mm.
I saw where AI have their own social media platform. Now that
Mm.
is something real concerning to me. And if you don't mind, I want to ask you if you could go into the book of Ephesians chapter 6, reading from verse, I'll tell you what verse. I really want us to go into that scripture because this is not normal. I saw a clip showing that AI has a social media platform and they're communicating about us and they want their privacy, they have their own religion within it and all these things. Now, I gotta get straight to the point, brothers and sisters. Matter of fact, let me go into the scripture, my brother. Let's go into verse, let's get straight down to verse 12.
Hold on, bro.
Ephesians 6. Yeah,
I just putting
no
out my
problem.
my King James, my digital King James here, not the AI
Yeah,
version.
yeah. Because you see, we be
Yeah,
watching these things. We
yeah.
watching these things normal and thinking, yeah, AI communicating. Brothers and sisters, they are entities that communicating. They are entities that filling in that so-called that humanoid. Is not just the AI intelligence, brothers and sisters. They are entities that want vessels. And
Mm-hmm.
the form of communication on the AI platform is entities communicating. The same entities today that give you negative thoughts. The same entities today when you thinking positive, you are thinking good, and out of nowhere these thoughts come to you. That is the same entity that operating in the earth. The same entities that have that you see people so-called crazy or psychologically or mentally unfit, and you thinking it's just a psychological problem when it's evil spirits, brothers and sisters. It's evil entities that operating and they need hosts because they had a vessel and they don't have any more vessel. Secondly, the Most High God who created us. You can look up the God gene, brothers and sisters. Knowledge and science shows that there's something within man that he is designed to praise and to worship. As much as people say they are atheists and all these things, there's something within us that is designed to create to worship, to serve. Also science, because we had the scriptures, but are still speaking from a scientific perspective, which is knowledge according to the Bible. It shows that when people may have problems or issues or heavy burdens, that when they pray, that they release a lot of stress and mental issues. This is scientifically proven. So they need to keep people away from the spirituality of themselves. They want us disconnected to their seed flesh and don't understand that we were created to live forever. Our spirit is everlasting from within. And the deception is to grab us into to disconnect us and make us think that we come here, we live and we die. The way how the human body is designed in itself, many physicians, many doctors, they come out and say, listen, it gotta be a God. Just the way how the immune system function, the way how the eyes function, the way how the whole body function, the way how the whole creation function. Everything have a purpose accordingly, not chaotic and a bang out of anywhere, but everything has an operation within the earth. They know that there is a creator. That same creator is within our mind. So what they want is to bombard us, put us on a lower frequency, be distracted, be on a different vibration with these humanoids, with this artificial intelligence, and for us not to really come into our true power. Another thing is that when we think these things is about, we think Bible and all these things is religion. The Bible is not about religion, and brothers and sisters. From the beginning, Adam was given dominion. He was given a position to rule and to have dominion. And this is the purpose of man. So when man get distracted and focus on these things, by default they become servants to AI, servants to your phone. You see people walking on the road on the phone and you know what I mean? They get bounced down. People driving. That's why the regime today put so much of fines in place, especially for even your phone next thing in the vehicle, because people are so distracted. People walking and they you know what I mean? You sit down by the table to eat and drink like what we used to do years ago and communicate with your mom and your dad. No, everybody sit down on the phone. People cannot even have a good discussion. So the spiritual aspect, the true purpose of man has been controlled and limited by these tools. So I'll ask if you could go into the scripture, Ephesians chapter 6, reading from verse 12.
So this is the book of Ephesians, reading from chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Where take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all, to stand.
Right.
Standing therefore, having
Right.
your loins girt about the truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
Right, Aharon? Yeah. So when we think that these things is just simple AI, the convenience, the pros, we've seen all the pros, but there are so much cons. There's so much cons, and I will prove it again as we go a little further down into the scriptures, right? That they want access to our thoughts, right? Because they want to control us. We already being controlled, and sorry, let me say we. A lot of people are already being programmed. That's why they call it a program. It's programming. When it says the channel, right? When it comes to channel, and you change the channel because it's what you invoking and what channel you're under. All these words is just witchcraft. You look up the word grammar, it goes back to the etymology of the word goes back to the Europeans of casting spells. The word spelling. All these things is high level spiritual wickedness that we are in. When it is I use an example. When you look at the word, you go into to your job. The word job means persecution. When you say is weekend, is it similar? Is that a different word enough? By a E and a A. Weekend. I just using some words for us to just get a drift of even the language we speak. It's so corrupted that two words, that one pronunciation have two different spelling, but it's the same thing. And when you look at one of the word, as I said, weekend. So you work through the week, you at the end of the week, you weekend. You go into job, you go into your persecution. You understand what I'm saying? So that is just surface thing. Much less to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. You know, these brothers getting busy, they ain't looking for a wife no more. Then now, you know, the way how women have been so masculated and they think that is the way of life. You know, some guys would take the other option, which is wrong, and so on and so on, and it's just chaos, and we're not connected, because this whole thing is about rulership and dominion. And now the people who controls these platforms and put these things in place to keep the people as servants, to keep you serving, to keep you working for them. Then they need you to work in their factories. They need you to, they need servants. You understand? But the way how the Most High set up kingship, queenship, and servants is righteous. But this form of servitude is exploitation, Look at what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. If I may say briefly, I'm not any politics. I just want to say this, right? We are being fined for so much things for our vehicle because they're trying to generate funds for the economy and stuff, right? But look at the condition of the roads in Trinidad and Tobago. We had a pitch lake here, a natural resource to keep us running as a people. Everybody exploit the resources. Now we don't even have a good road to drive on to get it fine. So now we're getting all these fines, all these things that they extort, they're still ringing we drive, and the road not even in a good condition. And that is just basic thing I'm talking about. I'm talking about not to mention the hospitals, because we taxpaying dollars, or we paying these taxes, right? And we are not reaping. So this society is not for the best of mankind. You have to wait till you 60 years to apply for your NIS. And in technicality, you will not get it. Then when you're 65 years, I believe, 65 years, you will get a pension. I could be wrong. But by the time they get you in the clinic, you're done sick already because they don't give you some drugs to done. So this is how this place working. It is not for the betterment of mankind. It is not what we the world that we think that they say it is. It's not about that. Listen, they want to wipe out our elderly people. Look at all people that are lined up by the banks yesterday. How many of you all passed early in the morning? See our elders sit down 4 a.m. 4 a.m. by these different financial institutions to go and get in money. You think them want to get at that hour to go online? Huh? And yet still they give them a chance, they might raise it again to 70 years. And it goes on and on and on and on. So just speaking from a simple perspective, the construct of this world is not for the best of mankind. And that's why the Most High say, keep my commandments and live. But we wanted to do things our way. Hence now AI and all this. Now, I want to hold my tongue, but I have run away to come in, and I want to go into the book of Revelations 13 when it is finished.
Yeah, man, we go, man.
Let me go to Revelations 13 one time, because this is where, you see, the scriptures talk about everything, you know. In the book of Daniel, it says that knowledge shall be increased, right? In the last days, and we shall go to and fro with the knowledge. So this knowledge is also the same access to the internet, the same artificial intelligence as today. And that is the pro. So you say many shall be washed and made clean, and many shall do more wickedly. Right? Now we're going into the true purpose of this whole thing. Let's get Revelations 13, reading from verse 13. Yeah, from verse 13.
This is the book of Revelation, reading from chapter 13, reading from book 13, verse 13, right?
Yes, sir.
Chapter 13, verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Right.
Saying to them,
so these signs is the same technology today. The missiles, all these different sorts of technologies, sorts of different inventions and stuff like that. Because John, he got this revelation. He could not have said it was a missile or it was an atomic bomb and all these things, but he understood they shall do great signs. So this is according to the Bible, science means knowledge. But now that knowledge is trying to go beyond the knowledge of the Most High God. That people start to even consider that what man created is all that there is. But go ahead.
saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image of the beast, which had wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused it all, both great and small, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, or save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for his number of a man, and his number is 666.
Thank you very much, my brother. So what it is showing here, that they shall make an image unto the beast. It is a representation. It is a standard to give the beast power and access. So now there's something called the RFID chip, right? So there are different parts in Europe already. It's already in action already, right? Where you will put this chip, small nano particle, within your arm, and it can be used for identification for the driver's permit. It has your whole data basically, as what we were saying, taking data. So it has you have all your data, not in your phone anymore, but that itching with it. But when we look into other studies from in the early 19 something, bear with me, I can't quote the exact here. It shows that they had an EEG, which was the same thing. And back then, they were showing how when you put this chip or this form of technology, if it could not have walked, it will help certain parts of the brain to connect to help you walk. And we've seen all the pros and the cons with it. But it's a two-way frequency. That means that someone is listening and someone has access to your personal data. And we think that it's just people spying on us. But again, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So as the Most High God has access to our thoughts and connects with us, the wicked one, his agents, they want control and access to us. That's why the Most High say, if any man take this mark. So there are many believers and people who are not prepared for the time ahead when this comes. Using an example, they can see that we will need to have this two-way frequency, this device to operate in the society. Before I go further, let me say this. When it says mark in the Greek, that mark, the etymology of that word in the Greek, it means badge of servitude. Your badge of servitude, like your ID card, you cannot do certain things. You cannot open up a bank account. You cannot function without an ID card. You cannot drive without a driver's permit. You must have, matter of fact, you must have two forms of ID or one form of ID, like a birth certificate, to go and get your ID card. To go and get a driver's permit, you need to have two forms of ID, and it goes on and on and on. So I'm saying all that to say is that this badge of servitude, this mark, this etching, because there's all sort of incorrect and crazy teaching out there, but that word mark means etching under the skin. So yeah, you same way we already have been taught and learned to see all the pros and none of the cons. So you could just, you're going into your job, instead of using to swipe your card, you boop. Feels good, it sounds good. You boop by the you raise your hand, you put it by the ATM, you boop, right. You get access. But what we don't know is that it is a form of control. And it shows us that from since 20 years ago in a 1990 something study in 1900s, that study was there. I'm sorry I didn't went into it, but I had the information, right? And that was 20 years ago. So let me talk about now, 2025. That's 25 years show ago I'm talking about and more. They had that form of access and technology to control and to manipulate thoughts. So what do you think really going on? So in Trinidad, they could use it as this. We're trying to get a way to lock down crime, to get thing on the criminals. Also for you to go and get your matter of fact, to go and get your pension, you need to have the chip. They might tell them that. Now there are some people that don't want a part of it, and there are some people that will give in because they wasn't prepared. So this is now where the true believers of God will come in and stand for what is right. And what we're here for is not to put panic, because this topic is a big topic. I had to do a part two. We want people to understand, learn the basics of just being able to plant food and survive. We think that food is in the grocery there. The majority of things that as a natural resource island, we import a lot of the food, even the vegetables we import into Trinidad and Tobago, which is a bad thing, because if something goes down there for a week or two, your groceries are going to be empty. What are you going to do? And the scripture shows us that in the last days shall be famine. Look at what happened right next to us in Venezuela. That could come across here. Earthquakes in diverse places. Trinidad was never a place known to have earthquakes. We are getting a lot of earthquakes for the last decade. So is us as a people being prepared spiritually, detaching ourselves as much as possible to connect to our God. Because brothers and sisters, there is so much down the pipeline that I just have to stop on this level for now, because if I continue going and going, the program going on and we already up to 8 more minutes. Brothers and sisters, AI is the beginning and the access of more control over us. We were never created to be servants in a society, serving people. Minimum wages, working 10 hours, working 12 hours. You can't wait for the weekend, 2 whole days to get back up and go again. The Most High God never set up that. But because of disobedience and we fall to sin, we fall as servants. Many people that say they love to work and this and that, but I'm saying if you make a certain amount of money and have resources, you're not going to work. So we have to come together as our people, come together under one order, under one agreement, because people they say love, I love your brother, but we don't really understand how to love. So now the Most High commandments in His word shows us how to love thy brother as you love thyself. He shows us how to operate. He gave us civil laws. He gave us moral laws. He even gave us dietary laws. He gave us even ceremonial laws for us to keep. And if when we fall back under this order, they will not have control over us as they have millions of people under control. But Aharon, I don't know if you want to come in and say something.
No, you're right on point with the programming on the RFID chip that you mentioned that would be placed into your arms. All this is what we first discussed on the introduction with the digital era. Entering into that digital era, post-war, every war has an advancement. World War II, you had the advancement of the second computer, the Z3, which is the fully digital computer. We want to say World War III, which kind of inevitable, would bring you another era, which is your full new world order. You understand that digital era you're speaking about right there, concerning the RFID. Now the RFID, you scan your hand to get into work. You have a work badge, bro, and you pay your work badge again.
Of course.
We upgrade from that now to RFID chip to come in the office, boy. We say, well, here, I don't want RFID. I want to put my work badge. You say, well, you can't work here. That will be system working. You understand? And we program long time too. Because 2020 COVID, they give you the mask, right? Put the mask and you go out. You ain't sick, but you go out with the mask again. Means say you don't wear a mask. But even when COVID done, brother, some people program just with the mask. As soon as they get sick, they don't go off in the elbow no more. With the mask. You understand? The same mask, the breathing mask, the same bacteria.
Toxic.
Actually feeding the bacteria to grow and
more,
multiply even
more,
more.
more.
You
Exactly.
understand? So the same thing with the with the RFID chip. We are programmed from a long time watching TV. You put on the TV here. You're watching a series. You watch 2 episodes. You can't go and sleep. You want to watch 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You understand? Your program. If something going, you must see it all the way in.
Yeah.
People program not to break cycles, bro. Once they get a cycle,
Mm-hmm,
it's hard
mm-hmm.
for them to come out of it. So as a people, we need to become aware and say, well, here now, I in a cycle by Aaron boy, you had to snap outside, but you had to stop do that, you know, catch yourself. So yes, when something come left and you know it left, you better make the decision to go right.
Ronnie, you bring it on point, brother. And brothers and sisters, everything we do is out of love. You know what I mean? We really want our people to really understand at the time that we're in. This topic was so so swinging that we didn't really make time for calls. However, I know this AI is topic is just a brief intro for more, more side with them, more shows to come, more broadcasts to come. And again, hear the word broadcast. Broadcasting. you know what I mean? You're watching a broadcast, And let me tell you something, yeah. And I want to say it. And brother, if I could squeeze this in, you had the Bible in front of you still on it.
Yeah, right here, man.
Jump across the verse. Jump across the verse 14, and I think when we read verse 14, people gonna understand more. If you see, we could squeeze in verse 14, reading from I believe it's from
chapter 14.
Yeah, that's not. I'll get chapter 14 from verse I believe it's 8. That's nowhere. Oh man. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, verse 8, I think it is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And therefore, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 14, reading verse 8. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, the great city, because she made all nations drink of wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
So the Most High, he not done with that. He already know in that time to come that once we could once we are programmed to the extent to think that we could even put an artificial intelligence inside our flesh, we don't go on already. We don't go on to even put that inside it. And by we have been so compromised to even do that, by default, they have full control. And brothers and sisters, when the Lord and Savior will be coming, these same people who say they're following him, they will be programmed to fight against him when he comes. The Bible shows us all that. So, our time has ended.
Bro,
yeah.
Bro, I know the time is short. I'm going to get 2 verses here. I'm going to get 2 verses here, which will correlate to what you just said, right? This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 17, right? And we talked about AI and the great change, right? Hear this one. For in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by the sea, as stood far off, and cried when they saw smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? You understand what city that is, bro?
Yes, very well. We understand what city it is. But that city creates other cities too. So Mr. Sir Charles, thank you again. May the Most High God bless you, giving us the opportunity to be here. And family, stay tuned. I want to ask to push the like button, share, help us to build this platform to reach more and more of our people who's searching for this information. Share the word, brothers and sisters, right? Shalom.
Shalom. Thank you for having me. Bye.
End times is here. Are you prepared? Check us on New Era TT Radio or NETT Radio with Brother Raka and Brother Yata Zakawa on Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. End times is here. Stay tuned.